none of y'all have to watch this. This is for me personally. I am recording myself doing a speech. At the moment, this isn't well practiced. I'm just reading through it, getting to know it better, so that I can listen to myself play it later. So here I go. This is Ender Speak and Speaker for the Dead on Marie on Marcos Maria Ribiera. He was known by three names. The official records had the first one, Marcos Maria Ribiera, and his official data, born 1929 to 1970, worked in the steel foundry, perfect safety record, never arrested, a wife, 6 children, a model citizen because he never did anything bad enough to go on the public record. The second name he had was Marco, Big Marcos, because he was a giant of man, reached his adult size early in his life. How old was he when he reached 2 meters? 11. Definitely by the time he was 12, his size and strength made him valuable in the foundry, where the lots of steel are so small that much of the work is controlled directly by hand, and strength matters. People's lives depended on Marco's strength. His name was Dog. That was the name you used for him when you heard that his wife Novina had another black eye, walked with a limp, had stitches in her lip. He was an animal to do that to her. Not that any of you like Novena. Not that cold woman who never gave any of you good morning. She was smaller than he was. She was the mother of his children. When he beat her, he deserved the name of Co. Tell me, is this the man you knew? Spent more hours in the bars than anybody, and yet never made any friends there, never the comadre of alcohol for him. You couldn't even tell how much he had been drinking. He was surly and short-tempered before he had a drink, surly and short-tempered before he passed out. Nobody could tell the difference. You never heard of him having a friend, and none of you was ever glad to see him come into a room. That's the man you knew. Co. Hardly a man at all. Hardly a man at all. A few others, the men from the foundry, Barro, Dos Fabricadoras, knew him as a strong arm they could trust. They knew he never said he'd do more than he could do, and always did what he said he would do. You could count on him. So within the walls of the foundry, he had their respect. But when you walked out the door, you treated him like everybody else. Ignore him, thought little of him. Some of you know, some of you also know something else that you never talk about much. You know that you gave him the name Co long before he earned it. You were 10, 11, 12 years old. Little boys, he grew so tall. It made you ashamed to be near him and afraid because he made you feel helpless. So you handled him the way human beings handle things that are bigger than they are. You banded together like hunters trying to bring down a mastodon, like bullfighters trying to weaken a giant bull to prepare it for the kill. Pokes, taunts, teases, keep him from turning around. He can't guess where the next blow is coming from. Prick him with barbs that stay under his skin. Weaken him with pain. Madden him because as he is, you can't make him do things. You can make him yell. You can make him run. You can make him cry. See, he's weaker than you after all. There's no blame in this. You were children then, and children are cruel without knowing better. You wouldn't do that now, but now that I've reminded you, you can easily see an answer. You called him a dog, and so he became one. For the rest of his life, hurting helpless people, beating his wife, speaking so cruelly and abusively to his son Miro that he drove the boy out of his house. He was acting out the way you treated him, becoming what you told him that he was. But the answer isn't true. Your torments didn't make him violent, they made him sullen. And when you grew out of tormenting him, he grew out of hating you. He wasn't one to bear a grudge. His anger cooled and turned into suspicion. He knew you despised him. He learned to live without you in peace. So, how did he become the cruel man you knew him to be? Think a moment. Who was it who tasted his cruelty? His wife? His children? Some people beat their wife and children because they lust for power, but are too weak or stupid to win power in the world. A helpless wife and children, bound to such a man by need and custom and barely enough love, are the victim he is strong enough to rule. There are men like that, but Marcos Riviera wasn't one of them. Think a moment. Did you ever hear of him striking any of his children? Ever? You worked with him. Did he ever try to force his will on you? Seem resentful when he did things didn't go his way? Marco was not a weak and evil man. He was a strong man. He didn't want power. He wanted love, not control, loyalty.